Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I got my next guest and on the show, Elias. Is it Marty? Is how you pronounce your last name, or Marty?
I just go with Marty. I finally simplified it because it gets butchered numerous of times. If it was a person, it would have been killed 10,000 times already.
Okay, all right.
It's a more way of looking at it, but yeah.
I'm usually not really good with names, so I try to be as good as possible and pronounce them correctly. But for some reason, still get them wrong. So it seems to be my thing. So I'm going to get better at it at some point, or not. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Well, thank you for being on the show, though. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy out there. You've been podcasting for the past, I think you told me 4 or 5 years? Has it been that long?
Yeah, 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, my start of it was, I'm just going to just start from there. Feel free to cut me off or even redirect the conversation if you feel like I'm rambling or going off track. Don't really feel free. It's your show. I'm here. Well, I'll brag a little bit. That's a transparent truth, but at the same time, trying to serve your audience or empower them in some way as well. I got to keep that in mind. It's not always about me. It's very easy and tempting to make it all about me, and screw everybody else.
Right.
But no. Let me just be a grown man, just be of service to, not just to you, but also to your listeners as well. So how this podcast started, first of all, I had a much longer name, and I thought it was clever, but yeah, it did. I used to call it the acronyms PEER, politically entertained with evolving randomness. A good amount of people didn't like it.
That's good.
It was too long, and then I just finally rebranded it to politically high tech. I said, yeah, that's the simplest I'm going to go.
Okay, I like that. That's very on brand, mysterious, but you're always asking for more.
See? This is why I could vibe with this host. I already knew he has the smarts. I know he has the social savviness. Some of them don't. I got to be honest. Some of them don't. Some of them are a mess. I'm not going to say their names. That's the only grace I got left. But some of them are just a mess.
Well, I would think after the 4 years of doing it, I mean, this is my first year of hosting, but, I would imagine what you've seen and what you have to encounter and how you have to maybe struggle with certain people and pull teeth or get questions out or just kind of roll the punches in a way. I mean, I'm sure that's not easy, but, hopefully you got through it,
Yeah, as long as you're talking and, of course, interview with the right people, of course, it's easier. But, life is not always easy. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. If it was easy, I just don't think we would grow. We wouldn't be smart. I think we'd be just a bunch of cave people. I don't know, banging stones and stuff, all I know. If I want to do a little prehistoric insult. But
right.
Yeah, but let me just get back to the podcast trajectory just real quick. Yeah, so for the first 2 years, I treated it as an experiment, as a hobby. To be quite frank, I was shocked I was actually getting listeners. I said, wow, people want to listen to me. Maybe because I was trapped at home during the pandemic. Great. It did start in January 2020, so this is a little bit right before we started dealing with the restrictions. I'm not going to call them lockdowns. Right. America never really had a full-blown lockdown like Australia and China. Those are lockdowns compared to here. Here, we just deal with certain restrictions. Some of it even suggestive. That part, the right-wingers were a bit dramatic. And the left-wingers, I think they have everything their way, I think it would have been more like a lockdown. But I'm happy that they underperform in that aspect, because I think it would have served the right. It would have definitely fueled the narrative of the right. Oh, you see, these left wings are communists. They want to be totalitarian. So I'm happy they underperformed. They actually kind of, and I do say kind of strongly, kind of benefited them. I'm sure they wanted to do more. I'm sure they was looking with good intent, safety, but with good intent, it doesn't mean you're gonna have great outcomes. But that's my thing with that. I'm not gonna talk about the pandemic too much unless you want to dive into that. But that's how I treated my podcast.
I mean,
I treated
it
like
was
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, pandemic is something that was definitely devastating for a lot of people, and yourself, you as a New Yorker as well, you've probably seen a lot that really happened and went through, the city, and historically how that kind of affected people. And my first time being here during that, I think probably some of the people's first time, probably a lot of people's first time. Um, it changed, but do you think it's changed a lot since the pandemic, since the lockdown? Has New York really changed itself fully, or have we kind of gotten back to some of the ways of what New York used to be like before?
It's going back. It's going back to normal-ish, definitely, but it hasn't fully recovered. I have to be honest, but it is on track. And this is my prediction. The right wing say, "Oh, New York will never recover." Okay, you dramatic smartasses. New Yorkers are fucking resilient. Okay, let's just get that straight. And I actually personally took offense of that as a New Yorker. So obviously, this fucker doesn't know what a New Yorker is. But yeah, that was I mean, look, some of my politics on the right, some of it's on the left. I have no partisan loyalty. I just go issue by issue. But bashing those idiots, I don't understand what New Yorker is. No, we're resilient. We recover, but we're going to recover slowly. I mean, we lost $11 billion. So yeah, we're going to recover. We're just going to recover very slowly. And that's what's happening right now. I'm not surprised. I just wish we built stronger infrastructure for hospitals and have more emergency ready preparedness in a massive scale. I want things to be run through intellect, not fear. Of course, with compassion and all that other good stuff. But no, a lot of things was run through fear. Fear through both sides using different flavors. The right is, the government's taking away your rights. The left is, everyone's going to die by this virus. It was fear mongering for both sides of the aisle for sure. I feel like I'm talking about more about the pandemic more than my podcast, but that's okay. And then of course my podcast has eventually, the podcast has eventually evolved. The way I like it now, it's more clear. I know what the heck I'm doing. I think like the third year I started being more clear, because before I was just experimenting, of course. But at the third year to now, I have a clear focus on politics more. Sometimes I like to mesh history in there if I have the time. And then, of course, I talk about technology. My main focus is AI and cryptocurrency. Interesting stuff. And then the third type of episode, those are the type of episodes I like to do. The third type is I just change it to development, something that could empower human beings. Because we just need all the tools we could get before shit hits the fan. So that's where I'm at.
That's so true.
So I'm focusing more on spirituality, development. I might throw some random stuff like comedy in there. I do have a couple of people I've kind of got along with. Their comedic people, and me, if I'm going to call my podcast, it definitely needs to improve in diversity. And I do have a priority list I want to get. Call me a leftist all you want, but I definitely want as much representative. I need diverse, not just, I've been having a lot of, there's no problem with this, of course, but I definitely want to mix. I have a lot of white men and white and Indians. They're great. They give great perspectives, but I want to make it a melting pot. I need to bring in more Latinos. I hate Latinx term, by the way. Yeah. That pisses me off, that idiotic term. It makes no sense, but that's a rant for another day. Asians, I'm having a little more of that. And it's just very different people. For some reason, I haven't got a Muslim perspective, which that's interesting. I need to definitely reach out for one who has a Muslim perspective. I already had a Buddhist. I thought that was going to be hard as hell. I got that one. Sheik, pretty damn easy, came to me. And definitely a couple of Hindis. Kind of comes with the territory. The petty demographics that's dominant right now. And yeah, that's it. That's my TBD for the future, season 6, of course.
There you go. I like that. I think that makes you more well-rounded, and you're getting, like you said, different perspectives. I think that's what we all need to do. We need to learn to be able to take on other perspectives and understand stuff more than what is in between, like you said, in front of us. We want to have the tools and knowledge to understand things. So I think that's really awesome. It's really good.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, but I have a plan. Just
well, that's very true. I mean, at least you're not doing it in the corporate way, where they just kind of like say we need diversity, and then you just like plop one person in and say that's diversity. That's the shitty way of doing it. But the holistic way of doing it is really understanding, growing that audience, and really having something to talk about and bringing that to the table.
Well, tokenism. Okay, that's exactly what that one is. Oh no, we got this one black guy, we got this one gay person, we got this one Muslim. We're diverse, yay! Mm-hmm. No, but no, I want to represent as much perspectives as possible. I don't have to agree with it. If that was the case, I would say 50% of them would not be in the podcast. I would just focus on Christianity, very centrist, boring stuff. I want to have left wing or right wingers on the show. So if I want to support my echo chamber, which I easily can, but it's no fun really, I will just talk about just why AI is so great and forget about all the dangers. Oh no, those people who hate AI, they're just stupid people. They're Amish people. I could have just said that, but no. Not the case. I also want naysayers of AI because they do have a point of view. Me, I'm more of the optimistically cautious camp. I'm optimistic, but I'm also aware of some of the dangers. So it's good to have that nuanced perspective when you talk about AI, even though you could like it or hate it. I'm just like the haters, well, hopefully they will get to understand why AI is so damn beneficial to them. But you can't shove the opinion on them, no matter how right you are, how better it is. You just can't. I was like, oh damn it, Dax! I want you to turn to a far right MAGA person. That's just ridiculous. Which obviously I'm not. I'm an independent centrist at the end of the day. That's where my politics lean at, because I think both parties are equally shitty. Oh.
Well, I'm going to wish you all luck on your next podcast endeavors. I'll be tuning in. But I want to get your perspective on some New York history. I mean, you've been a New Yorker pretty much all your life. I'm only a newer New Yorker for maybe 10 or 15 years. And I found some really cool facts that I thought was pretty interesting. Love it or hate it, you want to say about New York City, but, it's kind of an awesome place. We technically still have, one of the facts is that we have we're still one of the most populous cities in the United States. We're around 8.5 million residents, which is insane. We have more than 800 languages that are spoken in New York City, making it the most linguistically diverse city in the world. And interesting fact, about 2,702,957 million New Yorkers speak Spanish, making it the second most spoken language in NYC after English. I don't know where that number is so specific, but I guess that makes sense in a way, because I do hear Spanish a lot, but it's also sad because I don't speak Spanish and I wish I did.
Well, we do have the capability to learn. I mean, to jump in there. I do speak some Spanish. So that's another thing. Yeah. So, it's when it comes to Spanish, I mean, especially going to the Bronx, it is practically Hispanic majorities, in so many neighborhoods. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. I wish I was. If I would have said that 15 years ago, it probably would have been dramatic, but it's actually pretty accurate at this point. Yeah, it's very, I think the only spots that are, oh, you gotta love the noise of New York City. Oh, that's how I know we're there. But anyways.
It would be authentic. I hope they're okay, whoever's out there.
Yeah. My prayers. I know I sound cold, but I'm kind of rushed. I please you, the audience. Because oh goodness, this is cool, but okay, now I'm distracting myself. Yeah, no, Bronx is very, very Latino heavy, except for the Riverdale area. Riverdale area where it has that strong white and Jewish presence. At Throgsneck, well, Throgsneck's more Hispanics are going there as well. Have a good amount of Caucasians in that neighborhood as well. But, and I think this is gonna sound pretty ignorant from my end. But I think the black population just kind of sprinkled a little bit of everywhere in the Bronx. Some here, some there, some there. Except I think for probably like except for probably like small African communities. That's what comes like a somewhat of a noticeable conclave. But in Brooklyn, there, I think in terms of the way people broke it up I think is more interesting to me. They have a Haitian neighborhood, Nigerian neighborhood. It's definitely more diverse in the Bronx. Bronx is just mostly Caucasian, Jewish, PR, TR neighborhoods. Those are the dominant neighborhoods in the Bronx. That's
that's really good. I mean, I think that's a great diversity to have. One of the facts they talked about is that NYC is home to the highest Jewish population outside of Israel and the highest Hispanic population of any U.S. city. I mean, the highest Chinese population outside of Asia and the highest Puerto Rican population in the world. I mean, that's just kind of crazy to think about, but so true. But also, that's so great to see that because in a way, you do have that melting pot of different cultures you'd see. We have the Puerto Rican Day Parade. We have the Chinese New Year. We have all these different things that go on. And I think I love the fact that as much it can seem that it's very Caucasian or white or kind of the same mundane, you do have a little bit of diversity. Now, granted, it's not in every section of all the boroughs, obviously. You have, Manhattan's in its own little world. And you have the Bronx, you have Queens, you have Brooklyn, and that place we don't talk about, Staten Island. It's it's great to kind of have that level of diversity, and I think I always appreciate that about New York. Regardless of, I mean, I grew up in California too, so we had a little bit of diversity in the Bay Area, but in the San Francisco Bay Area, but nothing on the scale has been here. It has been so great to be able to see different people and different cultures. I thought that was also great. The one thing I don't like is that New York City is home to more billionaires than anywhere else in the world. Forbes has listed New York City with the most billionaires at 107 people, followed by Beijing with 83. The discrepancy in wealth and poverty and imbalance of everything else, it just makes no sense to me in New York City. You can have this great, nice neighborhood, and you can have all these nice places and the rich and the famous and all these things, and yet you still have homeless and you still have poverty, and all these things. And that comes with probably any great big city. But I think it's such a huge, huge difference, at least in New York City, that I've seen over the years of living here. And it's kind of sad in a way, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how your experience has been over the years, but I just feel like it's just very wrong in a way.
Oh, I'll just say it's very wrong. I'll amp that up further. I actually agree with you. The wealth disparity is, I think economically, New York can improve a hell of a lot in terms of how it could be executed. But in terms of diversity, I'll happily brag. Yeah, we get the gold medal on that one, no problem. You're beating progressive California as a state. The only thing I'll say California is better than New York is being progressive, for sure. That whatever new left-wing policies are being created, drafted, California will eventually eventually manifest in other states. Definitely slower for sure. So that California always get that credit.
Yeah.
And of course they have a large economic engine as well. Not just New York, obviously California as well. It's things like I forget where they're at the world, but I think they are like 5th or 6th largest economy in the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's.
Yeah. I mean, all these big cities have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. It's such a difference, especially like the rest of New York State versus New York City. And it's almost like you're in the same state, but you feel like you're your own country, like your own state in a way, Whereas California was just split into 2 places, honestly. It's Northern California and Southern California. Even though they're the same state, still a wealth of business and everything else out there, but it's definitely a difference in culture, I would say, versus LA versus San Francisco or Northern California versus Southern California. But I did say this with us in New York, in upstate New York. Upstate New York hates us, and we don't hate them. But for some reason, they just think we're just too much. We're too messy. There's too much going on. It's a crazy place to live, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's not that bad. Like, it's not that bad. Like, yes, it could be bad. Yes, it could be crazy. But for the people who stay here and the people who make it work, those are the true New Yorkers. And you can either ship up or ship out. I don't feel bad one way or another. You gotta just take your punches, and that's probably anywhere you go. And also, I respect people who say, "Hey, it's a fast city. It's not for me, but I see it's for you," and I think that's great. And I could be like, that's fine. Some people just like the soft, simple life, and I think nothing's wrong with that. I have friends who like to live up in their little picket fences and live in Connecticut in their Ross Nation. I think that's fine. Your choice. Everyone is different in every aspect, and I always respect that by one. But I'm at the same time where I'm like, don't talk shit about my city. I've gotten to that level of being a New Yorker now, which is crazy. I never thought I'd feel this way about this place, but I do,
Yeah, that's almost guaranteed to happen once you've been here for at least a decade. If you're fast, 5 years.
It grows on you. It grows.
Yeah, so yeah, you're already there. You're already there. I was gonna say about the upstate versus I'll even include the Long Island region. I don't forget those folks, even though they have the same mentality. Oh, yes, I gotta include the other.
What I like about Long Island is Hamptons and Montauk. That's all I care about. But yes, they are definitely a boot.
You heard it right here. DAC attacks. DAC attacks. But no, what I was gonna say.
That's fine. Whatever. Long Island is whatever. It's fine. It's whatever. It's okay.
I was gonna say, though, upstate is very interesting. It's like traveling to another world, just like you said. I've been to Buffalo. Only go there during the summer. That's my only travel advice. I was gonna say only summer, or you are, or you just become ice cube, or you'll freeze yourself to death.
It is crazy.
It is that Arctic Canadian air, which you could blame. Okay, just blame the Canadians for that air. I'm attacking the Canadians. Now it's becoming international. All right, but let me stop fooling around. Yeah, it's very rural. You're going to see a lot more Trump signs, too. Doesn't make it more, just put a little political slant to it. You'll see a whole lot more Trump signs. What's Ithaca, New York? Yeah, they're like pink. Yeah, Albany. Pink regions. Yeah, it's just like, in a lot of ways, just to put it super simple, when it comes to political breakdown, cities tend to be Democrat, has a lot more people lumped together, and then everything else is just a sea of red, generally speaking. All these towns, rural areas, or I don't know, animal farms, what have you, tend to be Republican overwhelmingly. I mean, that's supposed to break down all 50 states. All 50 states have this breakdown. Even somewhere as empty as Wyoming, where there's more animals than people. It's breaking down like that. Their biggest city is probably light blue at best, and then everything else, even the animals, are freaking Republican. I could just assume that because Republicans are taking care of them. But all right, let me stop.
They don't believe in birds. Some of them don't believe in birds. They think birds are, mechanical creatures that are created by the government and are not real. Yeah, I had a friend tell me that who was Republican. Can't say his name, but I was like, okay, that's your viewpoint.
That's a democratic monster to them. Okay, makes sense.
Not even gonna respond to that. I just said, okay, all right, that's but yeah, okay, that's some cool facts though. But yeah, I'm gonna post this because I actually have some really good ones on here. I mean, you think you live in a city for so long, you think you know everything, but I feel like New York City, once again, like maybe all of the great cities, you always find something new every time. You're always a tourist in your own city. And I think last year I've done my best to really become that and to really, focus on that as well. So it's been really great to kind of take it in. I mean, the weather's shit right now, and I really hate that. I don't know what it is about rainy days in New York City. I seem to think that Godzilla is going to come out of the ocean and just like destroy this whole place. I don't know why, but in my mind, that's what I think happens on a rainy day. Some kind of doomsday event is going to happen because it just looks so ominous every time. You know, I don't know.
I mean,
it's comic book nerd in me that's talking about that part.
Just to amplify that fear, we are sinking. So
Okay,
that
thanks.
doesn't
Thank you, E. That's good. Thank you. Now I'm thinking the day after tomorrow. Okay, great. Hey, I live in a high rise, so I guess I might be all right. Okay, I think I might be okay. I'm on the 20th floor, so I think I'll be all right.
I could craft a boat real quick and just break the window and just there you go.
Okay. That's impressive.
Vámonos. Adios, pendejos. I'm out. Bye, assholes. That's what I just translated to you. I probably might be washed away too. I went out with Wave. But all right. Let me stop with the Doomsday stuff.
No, the big waves.
No, not with a bang. Bang is too far.
I mean, listen. Oh, well, yeah. You can say the whole city's burning down, but I think that hasn't happened. Well, sadly, Chicago had that happen in San Francisco, but we haven't got to that level yet.
Yeah.
Good old industrial engineering.
Use my Christian hat, no spirituality twist. God forbid.
This is one thing I want to know. You talked about how you switched your political parties multiple times, and I haven't, I maybe had 2 or 3 friends that kind of went down this road. How was your process, and what kind of caused you to kind of keep switching your parties? And what parties did you switch from?
Okay, this one, I'm going to try to make it as succinct as possible. So, during when Obama started running for his very first term, that's how I was eligible to vote. Okay, I'm aging myself. You do the math. I'm not going to tell you the exact age, people. You keep that in your head. Or if you're going to be a troll, at least get the answer right, okay? Okay, let me stop. Let me stop. I love to attack the trolls. For some reason I get energized with confrontation. It's not a good thing in a way. But okay. So as an 18-year-old,
can't be the right person.
So as an 18-year-old, I was a registered Democrat. I started off in the Democrat Party because Bush sucks. Bush bad. It was as simple as that. Even though I found out certain policies that he did I like. Patriot Act is one of the most demonic things he's done. This is why all the surveillance and all of this internet freedom, all that, it started eroding on the Bush. Obama kind of amplified it. I got to attack Obama on that one. But I started as a Democrat because I did not want another Bush. I most definitely didn't want another Bush. Okay, now I was driven by that. Even though I did see certain flaws with the Democrat Party. I was a moderate Dem, what we'll call a blue dog Democrat. Meaning, fiscally, I kind of agree with Republicans, but socially, I was definitely agreeing with the Dems, like 90% of the time. Even though some of my personal views I disagree with them, but it's just, it's okay. Yeah, Bible criticizes gays, but they also criticize straight people cheating on multiple women or men. They also criticize that, so it's not just gay or bisexual sex. There's a lot of criticized heterosexual people on. Just cheating on one another is wrong. Doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever you are at this point. 3 gender, 20 gender, whatever. I can't keep up with this. It is going to allude to the next switch, by the way. Yeah, this is when some of our right-wing tendency is going to come up. So, when I was a moderate Dem...
Let it out. Name them.
Yeah, as a moderate Dem, I was not a fan of McCain. I almost voted for McCain at the end until he picked Sarah Palin. Once he picked Sarah Palin, I said, you just gave Obama my vote for free. You idiot.
Wow.
Yeah, because Sarah Palin was a big idiot.
Was it because she was a woman, or was it because she's a woman, or was she just was not a fit?
No, she was just stupid. There was a woman I actually want to support 2020. It has nothing to do with that. Good question, by the way.
Okay.
But I got an easy answer to that one. No, she was just an idiot. I did not want an idiot.
Okay.
John McCain was a decent candidate, but I was afraid he was going to die. He didn't look very well. She's going to take over. We are fucked as a nation. So, no, I was thinking ahead. I said, Obama, I'm willing to give you a chance, even though you're technically biracial. Some people hate hearing that. But it's a fact. Hey, at least we got a little melanin. Can we use more color? Hell yeah! It's long overdue at this point. Well, it's not even at this point. It was long overdue. I'll probably say since, if I'm going to be very tough, I'll say since 1950s. Okay, yeah, 1950s. We should have even gotten at least one or two minority presidents by now, and even probably throwing a woman in there. I think women could lead. It's just this country's not ready for it, which is sad. And I talked to a lot of older women. They said they don't believe a woman should be president. Coming from older women I've talked to. So women, men are not always the oppressors. So just gotta check the same gender, okay? It's not he versus she. It's just ideology. Which is this is gonna lead up to my second switch. Why I became a moderate Republican later on. I was a Democrat. I was until what was it, 2014. I left the Democrat Party because I saw this wokeness, the stuff I was kind of saying, 10 genders, 3 genders, whatever. I said, no, if that's going to be one of your main focuses, I'm out. I'm going to give these crazy Republicans a chance. Much to my regret, I only stood there for 2 years. Trump became the nominee. Fast forward to now, this is why I became independent. I said, both of these parties are fucked. Both of them are insane. That's my grand conclusion. Even though I stood the Democrat Party definitely a bit longer because at the time I was more hesitant to change. No, I don't want to believe this is going to push this. I don't think they're definitely at the craze of wokeness, but they did push woke. I could blame them for the promotion, but they're not the creators of it. The creators are these crazy wackos in colleges. That's a whole other rant for another day on that. But yeah, when Trump became nominee, I lost interest in the Republican Party. I said, oh my God. Okay, time to jump ship again. Ever since then, I've been I can't say lifelong. I've been independent ever since. Yeah, so for a decade, I've been registered independent, in which I actually feel liberated because I hate playing partisan loyalty. I played it sometimes. I didn't feel good about doing it from either side because I could see both sides. It would be nice to mix the ideas together. And you could have come up with something good. Immigration could be a chance to do that. You use the Republican wrath on the illegal immigrants that are causing harm, actual harm, the ones that's on the FBI terror watch list. That's where you could use the Republican harsh wrath. While we could use the Democrat goodness for everybody else that wants to come in, help them do the process, not just let them cross in and then get lost. A lot of them want to do better, okay? That's why. And I kind of, and on the street, informally, I kind of helped a couple of immigrants just build their confidence. They say, I have an accent. I said, listen, if I go to your country, I have an accent. We all got accents, okay? Do your thing. You're a smart person. You just don't feel it right now. You'll need to feel smart. And guess what? This person left the hot dog stand and doing his own thing ever since, which I'm actually happy.
Good.
He was from Bangladesh.
I think, you touched on something. Yeah, you touched on something because I think with the migrant thing, it is definitely probably very political. I think it's not looking at the level of humanity. I really just want to help people. I think people are so scared of, it's almost like one bad person makes it bad for everyone, when in case that's not really what it is. There are people who just want to work, support their families, do jobs that, I'm sorry to say, there's a lot of Americans don't want to do these jobs, these lower end paying jobs they don't want to do. And these people are more than welcome to come in and do this and do it probably 10 times better than anyone who actually lives here could probably do that. And yet they're giving this whole rap of, oh, you're causing infrastructure, you're causing issues. It's the billionaires and the millionaires that are causing these fucking issues. It's all this overtapped income and money and businesses that's making it so much harder for people to find a livable wage and do anything. It's not the migrant workers, because then it's like everyone's like, oh, well, you can't find a job, you can't do this, or they're taking jobs away from us. Are you going to go do that job, sweeping and mopping at this bar or restaurant? No, I didn't think so. So shut the fuck up. So it's not, it's one of these things that people just want to get on their high horse and talk about it. But then I understand it's just a fear, but I think you could be fearful, but then educate yourself about it. And I think once you understand the humanity behind it, you won't be so fearful about it. You'll understand what's going on. But as we talked about earlier, people choose not to think for themselves. They want the media to do it for them, which is really sad, to be honest. Or they want their political party to do it for them, which is even worse.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And that's one thing I try to combat. So listen, and let's continue the immigration. I think it's such a good way just to break in multiple angles. I have a third party angle. We could build security, also help the migrants. I mean, staffing needs to increase, and the Republicans actually had a chance to right it wrong, but the Trump factor had to come in and fucked all that up. Republicans might even lose the migrant battle. Well, Democrats are winning the abortion battle. They got a big W, and they continue to get Ws like consecutively at this point. Republicans could have got a W on immigration. But no, they had to listen to Trump. Trump said, no, don't do it. Wait till I'm elected. Then we do it. Wow, so he just, if you just pay attention, deconstruct all that, he's saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, politicians have done this, but...
Of course he is. No one wants to listen to it, yeah.
Sadly, a lot of people still listen to him. I mean, him selling the Bibles. I almost stole the remote in my TV today. Not even today, like a few days ago. So, are you shitting me? But I'm not gonna go. I'm just not gonna go. Let me stick to the migrant thing. There's already. I mean, Trump could be an whole separate episode. Okay. I mean, really, it could be its own episode.
I mean, you probably need your own episode for Trump. I mean, I think he would want that though. That'd be what he would want to happen. He would love for it to be all about him and this level of narcissism that he is as a person. It's just, it's just sad that we inadvertently do it. We inadvertently, it wouldn't be bad. I'm trying to look at this from a positive, optimistic way. It wouldn't be bad if he was, I don't know, maybe good at something, which he was good at reality TV. I loved him on TV. Like, he can do a show like that, and I'd be like, great, perfect, love that. You know what I mean? That's what you do. You own that. Whatever, you're fun to watch, you're entertaining. But when you start giving people nuclear codes and certain levels of power, and you're just kind of like, I understand where people got tired of politics. I think his platform was that I'm going to represent people who aren't represented. I'm going to show people that I could be a normal person, a normal businessman, and run this country. We're still here 4 years, whatever, after he's gone. But it's still like you kind of left it in shambles. You thought you were doing something good. You maybe thought you were helping. You maybe thought you were doing the best things. But in reality, and this goes back to touching a little bit what you said earlier, it's like we just kind of go back and forth. It's a ping pong game. So every 4 years or 8 years, we go back and forth to this ping pong game where we start having good things and policies. Then again, someone else comes in. And let's not forget, your president is a spokesperson. Nothing against presidents. I love presidents. I love their speeches. I love what they're about. Some state unions are great. Some are awful. But they technically are just your spokesperson. The House and the Senate and Congress is what actually runs our country. So when they decide to do shit, or when they are either Republican or Democratic, that's when things happen. Supreme Court, they're checks and balances. They're just there to check the rules, make sure you're not doing something unethical or against the Constitution. They really don't have much of a say. They probably could, but I think the way we instituted our governmental forms is that they should not be saying much. It should be like, oh yeah, you should do that. No, you can't do that. Okay, whatever, and not really change much. But it's this whole intergalactic battle. We watch movies like Star Wars or Marvel, what are these different things? Someone's always fighting someone. Someone's a good guy, someone's a bad guy. It's an inner developing war between our own selves and our own people that causes, and Trump saw that. He saw an opening to go in there and do that. And I gave him props for that in the beginning. Not that he's ever was a good person or he'd do anything better about it, but for challenging it. But also becoming sort of the problem in the way, and then pissing off other countries on top of that. That was more of an issue. I know we're all powerful. I know we could take on the world. We can best defense in the world. We spend all fucking money on defense. Probably take out any other country we fucking want to. We've done it before. But is that really the way we want to keep hashing things out and becoming a fearful nation, or being big brother and telling other nations how to fucking do what they need to do? No. That's not how the world works. That's not how NATO should work. That's not how any of these things should work. Everyone should be able to do what they want to do within a humane way of doing it, obviously. but not to get to the point of being a superpower where you cause more chaos than clarity, if that makes any sense. And Trump just escalated that shit. And now he wants to come back again. And it's not, I don't think he wants to come back because he wants to make a difference, because he's not going to. Sorry, people. He wants to do it for his ego. He wants to say, I want to be that president to show you I could come back. I can do this again. And I'm going to do it for 4 more years. Hopefully, or sadly, may die. And cause more chaos. And then live in infamy knowing that he did that. And he would be okay with that. January 6th, I don't think he gets 2 shits. We all know he doesn't get 2 shits. But knowing that he had something to do about that will obviously be his own little turn on his head that will always make him feel powerful and great. And people just ate it all up. And it's like, you just literally gave it to him on a platter. Like, Trump, here you go. And I'm not saying Biden's any better. I'm not saying he's doing the gracious thing in the world. I wish Kamala would do more. Obviously, she doesn't. But it's the point of, I feel a little bad because he's trying to fix things that happened in the past, but he's also trying to play it okay. But he's also older, and I don't want to be an ageist. I'm really not trying to be an ageist. But when it comes to a role as being the free leader of our nation, I think some youth and some clarity, and there's some level of energy that goes into that. It is not an easy job. Obama went in not being as great as he was when he had this job. And I was just for the first 4 years. Added 4 more years to that, the man is fully gray. So it's not an easy job. And you're giving this to people who have either heart issues or have different things going on. And you're just like saying, oh, okay, this is all we have to do. And then people get so upset and they're like, well, I can't change it. I can't do anything about it. I can't understand it. Well, you can. You have to be more involved. You have to be able to speak up. You have to be able to say it's okay to be independent. Write whoever else's name on the ballot. Write your mom's name. Write your name. Who gives a shit? The point is, I'd like you to vote. Please do that. But you don't have to vote for the people that are there. You don't have. No one's telling you to do that. But vote for what you believe in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely agree. And I'm even telling people, look, Trump and Biden are bad choices. You better start using the write-in. I know it's going to sound weird, but it's legally valid. As long as you know the person's name, write it down.
Yes, it is.
Just don't write Barack Obama because he's termed out unless they repeal. Jesus, I'm forgetting the amendments. I got to look that up. That's embarrassing. The presidential... And I'm sure this is going to be clipped. Presidential term limit.
You got to get these old folks out of. Yeah, you got to get these old people out of Congress. You know, I've beaten this to a horse. A lot of my friends who were hardcore Democratic. It just makes no sense to me. I'm sorry, Mitch McConnell, aka Android, whatever he is, because I don't think he's even human.
I call him the Goblin.
It just making. It's sad because they're just old white men. Mostly, I'm sure there's a little bit more diversity now, but these old white men who are just in office doing this for the constituents and whatever case is, or whatever big business giving them money to do what the case is, they don't care about the common people. They don't care about how you feel about stuff. They don't care about anything that really happens. I don't really think there might be some that do care. So let me preface that. There are some that probably feel that they really do want to care and make a difference. And I'm pretty sure there has been some great people along the way who do that. But they are outshined and underrepresented because of the big businesses and the older white generation that is still running Congress to this day. And until we change that, we're not changing shit. Nothing's going to change. We can, and I'm not saying don't be an advocate, don't stand up for yourself. I said that all that is amazing and great. Still do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we have free speech for. You know, it's all great. But just know at the core root of it, until you get our younger generations or people more involved in politics to the way of realizing that it's not as complicated, you can have a voice, you can make a difference. Once we get those kind of people and get this youth vote and get people who are younger into these offices and taking on these roles, we're not going to see a huge change. Or unless they all die out. I like to not wish death on people, but that's really the only other way. That's usually.
I mean, they aren't clinging to power that hard. That just might happen. to their own fault, really. I mean, look at Dianne Feinstein.
They say evil don't die real soon. So, well.
You know, look at Dianne
but
Feinstein.
It's like, but why though? Like you've done so much for so much. Yeah, you've done great things. You've made your mark in political history. I think that's amazing. That's great. How about it's time to let someone else do that? How about you pass the torch? How about you mentor and teach people who want to be in these other places to do that? That's what it should be about. Everything should be about growth, learning, change, and representation. But we don't do that.
No. I mean, I had to throw in two of them, and some reason they're old white women. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She worked to the bitter end. Who else? Dianne Feinstein. Another one who had obvious issues, but clinging to power. I think a lot of it has to do with ego. They don't trust the youth. If they got to pass it to someone young, it has to be a young person who preserves the old ideas. That's what I'm seeing a little bit more of, which is disheartening.
We can't have that, because you have to get to the point that things change, and realize life changes, policy change. There's different things that happen in the world. COVID, if anything, you would think would wake people up and realize this and be like, yo, life is short. Like, come on, man. Like you can't keep doing this rhetoric over and over again. Can't stop. Just can't let the media, and the media is really bad. We all know that. Like, granted, we have it, but they have so much power that they don't really understand how they sway people. I grew up in a CNN domestic household. I knew that. I knew that's where my family was, and a lot of people don't have that choice because they either grew up that way, that's what they were. But as I got older, at least living in New York City, so I'll give a shout out to New York, I learned the different policies. maybe I was kind of like you. I was like, okay, I'm Republican on certain things, but very democratic on other things. There's some things I just don't think money is the root of every evil, but money can't always fix everything. But we can't be spending so much money on things that don't work either. So I do get both sides of that argument, but you got to change things. What a loaf of bread cost back then is not what it fucking costs now. It's not. Inflation is a thing. Don't act like it doesn't exist. Every economist has told you about this shit. You're just waiting until it blows up at this point because you know it's happening. You know it's going to happen, but you're going to wait till the last minute to do something, because that's how change happens. Someone either dies, we hit a pandemic, something tragic happens, sadly like 9/11 or something even worse, and then all of a sudden we're like, let's change it up. Because, we could have done this 10 or 15 years ago. But no, something very tragic had to happen for us to be like, let's change this. And even at the COVID, they still didn't change a lot of shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, if America was... this is where I get agitated. If we was really serious about preventing another epidemic, we would have been increasing hospital capacities throughout the country. No, of course. We would have been finding ways to increase nurses' pay. Something to prevent. Yep. We're still suffering through healthcare worker shortage. As of now, it's not as bad as before, but we still got shortages. Absolutely. We still got shortages. There's not enough respiratory therapists, nurses, at all levels, from CNA to nurse practitioner. There's still what's the other? Any kind of technician they could think of in the hospital. Radiologists. Yeah. Shortage. You just put shortage. Even certain counselors, shortage.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
It's sad. It really is. And I don't know what they're going to do to fix that. I mean, they need to, obviously. But it's one of those things I sit back sometimes and I wonder, and this is why I think of leaving this country on multiple times. Not that I'm not happy about being an American, but I see how things are done around the world and how they're done efficiently and correct, and not so correct sometimes. But you see the wholesome level of how people live overall. And you see, you talk a little bit about like better health and how people are really treated on whether it comes to healthcare or just general understanding of work-life balance. Like it's just amazing to see that. And I just it just breaks my heart that like we had a country that was so good on that, and we still can be. Not that all parts of our country is bad, but I think it needs a hardcore reboot on our ideologies and thinking to really become that great nation that it can be.
Yeah, that's one thing that I remain
or
hopeful.
what we ideally like it to be.
Yeah, no, I do get your frustration and negativity. And it's well founded, really, because we do have this great potential, but this partisan, this hyper corporatism is what's slowing it down. I mean, Bernie Sanders, to his credit, he did try to introduce the 4-day work week. To his credit, I criticize him a lot of things, but that one I give him credit for. And
because you don't need to be in office freaking 5 days a week. Sorry, I work in corporate America. You don't need 5 fucking days. You need literally 3 to 4 days. I'm still hybrid, and I think it's the best way to go. I'm in the office 2 days a week, 2 days remote. Is my work still getting done? Yes. It's okay.
Yeah, my day job is also hybrid.
Productivity change? Yeah. Did it change? Did it lack in work? No. So why are you forcing people to come to the office 5 days a week? For what? That's actually more, technically, this is my rant. That's actually more money on you and facilities, operations, everything else that's in your office that you could be cutting costs and saving money with a hybrid schedule that you're not spending as much. And you could track a higher level of work people. And also your turnover rate would be a lot less. I've had people actually leave jobs. They just thought they were like, come 5 days a week. They're like, oh, no, I'm good, fam. And I don't blame them. If I had a job tell me to go 5 days a week, I'd be like, no, I'm sorry. My job gets done just as it is perfectly well. I'm not going back to that model. That's a dumbass model. And other countries have tested this and said it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's corporate power trip as usual. I mean, the ones who truly care about innovation, a lot of them are just remote, like mostly remote. Not even, sadly hybrid. My day job's hybrid. I'm 1 week in, 1 week out kind of thing. That's my thing. That's my kind of schedule. What else? Yeah, no, I just think if they really care about cutting costs, maybe you should rent a space for that 1 day just to have a big meeting, and that's it. Yeah. Which that would cut,
of course,
site costs, operation costs, so much. And I mean, and people from the top could have benefited, but wow, drinking the Kool-Aid, I guess. I don't want to sound like a socialist rant.
That is true.
But, no, some companies are already doing that. Some companies are all hybrid. Yeah, all remote. Someone's just all remote. So we don't need it.
No, they are, and I'm starting to see that, and I think it's a good thing. I think sometimes you got to learn to fight back. You have to learn to push back. You have to learn to be able to stand up. As I say, activism is the way to go. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think we are too evolved as people to kind of just go the run of the mill and just keep doing the same thing. That might have been the way back in the day before our generation, before we were born, and that might have been what happened, But we have come so far in realizing that we have the power to do things. That's one of the things about being an American. I've said this before. We fail, but we learn to get back up and try again and learn from not always, but majority of the time, learn from those failures and don't repeat them. Because there is a strong factor. We are going to just run ourselves into the ground, and there may not be any coming back at some point. But that's even a world thing. They get more the environmental aspects of things, and just us killing our planet in general. And that's a whole different topic we can talk about another time. But it's always the little steps you have to do. People think it has to be grand. Oh, I have to be on the big stand, this and that. No, you don't. You know what you can do? Vote. Just vote. That's really it. Maybe go and volunteer at your local school or something, or do this. Learn what it means to be a human again. Learn what it means to have humanity and understand people. That's really all it is. Care for your neighbor. That's really it. That's all you need to do. If you want to donate money to a cause, by all means do that. If you have the resources, of course, go ahead. That's fine. I think when you do things yourself and not just write a check, you get a better understanding of things. And I learned that hands forth myself. I'd rather it was volunteer at a soup kitchen, or it was donating clothes, or volunteer for a drive, or being in a parade. It's like little things like that. It means something, one way or another. Just do that, and you can be a better person, and you can do better for your nation and for your world. Or travel. God damn it, please travel. I hate when people don't travel. They seem to have just a small-minded idea of what life is. And I know everyone can't afford it, and I get that as well too. But you will have such a better outlook on what it means to be yourself, an American, whatever way you want to look at it, learn other nations, and have a better understanding of people by just doing that. All it takes is one trip. It could be just one place you go and just see it. And you're just like, wow, I do have it good. Or wow, I can see how we can change here. Let's just take one trip. Just one.
I mean, just to add into the travel thing, 2 small examples I could give. West Virginia, depressing as shit, very red state. No, I mean, if one state could be New York at a depression rate, it will be West Virginia. Been there, public transportation. I mean, New York's is a freaking elephant. West Virginia's is the size of an ant.
Sure.
I mean, it's, of course, very rural, former coal mine town. Not good amount of people depressed. The only thing I gotta say to credit to them is that, of course, the homeless population is extremely small. I mean, because the population is much smaller, and half the houses like they're about to fall apart, which signifies their, their low economic status. If I want to be kind, and then I just said, I'd rather stick to fast-paced, crazy New York. Even though I love to complain, I have a love-hate relationship. More love than hate these days. Because I appreciate how good I got it. You have to travel. You have to deal with worse just to realize how good you got it.
Yes.
I mean, for every cheesy person I've said that in the past, they're right. The cheesy people are correct. Just because they're cheesy, it doesn't mean they're wrong. I mean, sorry, I'm shouting your audience. I'm shouting the wrong audience. Yes. Some people say, that's cheesy. That's so lame. Oh my God. No, it's true. Okay, cheesiness has wisdom to it. And then the second one, Puerto Rico. As much as I love San Juan Nueva, which is the new San Juan, beautiful, very, very progressive, very diverse of Puerto Rico. You'll be surprised who's there. Chinese, Asian. I mean, people you not think is in Puerto Rico are in Puerto Rico, especially in New San Juan. If I'm going to tell you as a tourist,
so my legs.
San Juan. And then if you want to get level 2, like a level 2 recommendation, which is not that far away from it, Old San Juan, which looks more like a 1500s colorful, pink, light blue, orange buildings, like the old Spaniard, construction style and history is in there. I mean, if you want Puerto Rico 101, Puerto Rico for Dummies, stick to San Juan. If you want to increase this just a notch, then you expand Old San Juan, Old San Juan Viejo. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. But when it comes to the town, the rural areas, it's oh my God, I appreciate paved roads. They're not very well paved over there. Lines in the street. Although the locals there, they drive those curvy roads real quick. They already know I'm from America. Even though I share some of their DNA, but I drive like a scared American. Because, oh my God, where's the roads? Ay, Dios mío.
Here's the thing, but this, like, you're totally true. And I don't want to diss people who feel like a rural place is where it needs to be and only a big city. I mean, listen, if it's for you, it's for you. And I think that's totally fine. I love people who own what they love and where they are, and they do that well. And I'm like, listen, love that. It's all about being authentic and really paying homage to who you are, your history, and your growth, but also being open to change and understanding and realizing that may not be for you. I've gone to many small towns and people have been like, I've gone to the big city. It's just a little too much for me. But so I love something about just coming home. I could do this for my family. I have a small town, my market. I'm like, I love that. It's what works for you. I think that's amazing. You shouldn't be hounded or treated differently for that. But long as you're making an effort, to try to get out and do that. And that's fine. All it takes is just at least make an effort and try if you can. And then if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's nothing wrong with that. I think small towns can be nice. I never grew up in one, but it'd be nice. But it's not my forte.
A few nice small towns, and yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I cut you off there. I didn't realize that. No, I would say the small town that was nice in Ohio. This is back your point up. Gallipolis, Ohio. All the Christmas decorations were astounding. Thank God I went there during the winter holiday. You're talking like a nice town thing. West Virginia is pretty boring. I was happy I was able to go to Ohio. It was an hour drive. Yeah, I mean, we was at the tip. We was at the western tip end. Like, I know I bash West Virginia a lot, but oh well. Someone needs to take a beating from my mouth. It needs a victim. That's how I confront.
No, I love it. Listen, you found somewhere that you thought was great. You had experience. You learned that. You learned something. You came back with that, and now you made yourself a little better in the process. So, give yourself kudos for that. Give yourself kudos for that.
Well, I gotta say, you gotta give yourself a kudos as well. You know, we always forget to do that.
Well, that's true. Well, I think the main thing is like you said, we do this because we either love it or you want to empower people to have the knowledge. My takeaway from this and doing this podcast is to make sure people have a choice and idea of what things are and make your own decision after that. There's no one here to try to tell you to do one thing or another. I grew up in the aspect of thankfully being able to experience a lot in life that some people can't do, but also there's still things I do want to do. And that's going to take me getting out of my comfort zone and doing things. Will I jump out of a plane? Absolutely fucking not. But will I experience nature? Sure. You know, will I go camping at some point again? I might have to because my partner wants to do that. But I think it's really about not being mundane, not being stuck, pushing yourself to the next steps, and really being authentic. Because the more authentic you are, the more you're loved, the more you respect it, the more you just have a better outlook on life. So that's what I
throw shameless Christian spin to it. Jesus will respond a lot more. Believe it or not, he operates that way. I know the Bible uses those same terms, but if you deconstruct it, it boils down to that.
Yeah.
Yep. Spiritual version of Jesus 101.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much, Elias, for being on. I really appreciate it. I hope to have you on in the future again. I think there's some great topics we can definitely hit on. And I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be with us.
No, I'm actually happy to be, spreading my name slowly but surely. And, I know this was actually a great podcast. I'm actually happy to be here after listening to a couple of episodes. The only one with Dax, not the one with the guests, because I already know half of them, and this is the only part I'm going to censor. You be the judge, or who I think is great or whatever. You figure that out. There's some things I'm not going to say about some of them. That's the nicest I'm going to go from there.
I'll be sure to. I will be sure to plug your podcast, which I love. Like I said, I love the title, Politically High Tech, and look forward to what do you have coming this year. Like I said, love to have you back again. Hope you stay well, stay dry, because New York City is going to be wet all this week, which is annoying. And thank you again.
If possible, I will actually want you on my show as well. Maybe you could do traveling as a random.
Oh,
there you go. That's a benefit. That's part of development. I could definitely learn a thing or two, And I don't even care if you could mix in politics, all that, because the third box is really a random box if you boil it down to. So,
know what's funny, and we could talk about that in the next one, is that I had a full-on hour-and-a-half conversation about American politics when I was in Scotland visiting a friend. And I'd tell you, it was the most enlightened conversation I've had at a bar in Scotland. It's very hilarious, but we'll definitely talk about that.
Oh, yeah, I would love to hear that. All right, let me shut up.
Yeah. All right, Elias, it's good talking to you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too. Take care.
you know, man.